Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel,
Mangoetology.
Today I wanted to talk to you about the disappearance of Shelly Miscavige, as well as how Scientology gave one of my friends a statement about Shelly Miscavige and her whereabouts. We have all the screenshots and all the information for you here today, so stay tuned. If you're new to this channel, my name is Steven Mango. I'm an ex-Scientologist and I expose Scientology here on this channel, so if you want to stay up to date on all the latest happenings with the Church of Scientology, go down below and click the subscribe button as well as the little bell icon. That's going to notify you when I make a new video, so you can stay up to date on all the work I do on exposing Scientology. So without further ado, let's get right on into today's video. So if you didn't already know, Shelly Miscavige, the wife of current church leader David Miscavige, hasn't been seen publicly in many years. Many people have been concerned about Shelly and her well-being. Is she okay? Is she alive? Why hasn't Scientology been able to produce Shelly? Why hasn't Shelly been seen at any international Scientology events? These are all questions that people have been asking for many years. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, Leah Remini filed a missing persons report on Shelly with the LAPD. Now, apparently, the LAPD went out to Scientology's desert compound to do a welfare check on Shelly. So the LAPD checked with Shelly or a representative of Shelly. It wasn't very clear on which it was, and they said that she's fine, everything's okay, and the case is closed. But the LAPD didn't actually provide any information to really clue in that they actually spoke to Shelly, that she's okay, and didn't really provide enough information. Now, if you guys didn't already know, the LAPD actually grants protection to the Church of Scientology in many ways. Police officers and higher-ups of the LAPD are often seen at Scientology events, on stage. Sheriff Lee Baco was a Scientologist. There were many different people who were involved in the police system in Los Angeles that do grant Scientology protections where normally Scientology would be getting in trouble for these different things that they are doing. And you would think, well, why does Scientology get special privileges in Los Angeles? Scientology actually does write checks to the police department. They've been on stage at Celebrity Center, and I've seen this with my own 2 eyes, and there are police officials on stage receiving, say, a $40,000 check. The Celebrity Center normally donates all proceeds of their annual Christmas show to the Los Angeles Police Department. So I feel that they're heavily funded by the Church of Scientology. Now, even with me, I don't know if you guys remember this, about a year or 2 ago, I was physically assaulted by a Scientology staff member when I was out protesting on Hollywood Boulevard. I got a karate chop to my arm, I was shoved into the building, there was a lot of physical activity that went down. Now, when the police arrived, they did question me for maybe a minute or 2. Then the police went into the Scientology building for about 45 minutes to an hour. And they eventually did come out. They said they talked to the guy. He apologized and said he was sorry and that they're not going to take further action, which it was actually caught on video. So I don't understand why the police didn't take action, but I do know that they do have very close connections to Scientology. It's just very crazy to me that a government entity could be bought off by a church. And I think that if Scientology was a smaller group, if they had less money, if they had less real estate and less of a presence in places like Los Angeles, then they wouldn't actually even probably exist. Look at the cult NXIVM. I don't know if you guys heard about this cult NXIVM, but it was a sex cult and there was an actress involved and it's been making headlines. And after Dateline NBC did a story about this cult, how they were harming people's lives, both the cult's leader and the actress both got arrested for running this cult. But Scientology, regardless of how many people could come out and say that they were beaten, abused, extorted, all these different things, and Scientology still doesn't get any repercussions from our societies. So tying back to Shelly Miscavige, I do think the police didn't do their due diligence to really make sure that Shelly was okay. But again, she's an adult. Even if they did meet with her, which I don't really think they did meet with her personally, but if they did meet with her, she's over 18 years old. If she chooses to be on Scientology's desert compound base and she wants to be there and she's saying that she's not harmed or being held against her will or anything like that, then of course there's nothing the police are able to do in that case. But Scientology of course coaches staff members on what to say if this ever happens. If the police ever question you as a Sea Org member, you're told to say you're okay, you're fine, people just misunderstand what you're doing, it's all just a misunderstanding, these people are suppressive, and they really learn how to manipulate people. So if there is a person whose family doesn't support Scientology and their loved one is a staff member, the staff member gets contacted by the police and then they just say, oh, okay, I'm okay and I'm fine and my mom's just a critic of the church or something. But I do really wonder about Shelly Miscavige, because if you think about it, if Scientology really is under so much scrutiny by the public and by critics and others, and people think Shelly Miscavige is missing, why wouldn't Scientology just parade her out? Why wouldn't they bring her to the Celebrity Center Gala? Why wouldn't they bring her to the New Year's event or to any one of those different public things? Now, they may claim she's not a public figure, she doesn't want the attention. Okay, she doesn't have to be a public person. She doesn't have to be on stage at every single event. But just for her just to show up and take a photo and show that, okay, she's alive, she looks well, she's here, and there's no funny business, then I think Scientology should do that. If they don't have anything to hide, then produce Shelly. Bring her to an event, put her on video, do something to squash your critics. I think that Scientology, if they were able to do that, would do it. And they're just using this sort of excuse that, oh, well, she's not a public figure, as a way to not actually show that she's okay or alive or any of those different things. You would think that if they're under all this bad PR, and Scientology always claims, like, oh, we're being attacked, we're misunderstood, well, bring out Shelly, for example. Prove the critics wrong. Prove the public at large wrong. Scientology, if you could do that, do it. But you can't. And why is that? So one of my good friends who actually went undercover into a Scientology church with me, I've been working on trying to get this video together for you guys. I've hinted about it and it's stuck on a hard drive right now, so I promise I will get that video out for you guys in the next couple weeks or couple months or whenever I can actually get it off this hard drive. But one of my friends started following Scientology's television network on Twitter. I followed Scientology network on Twitter and they blocked me and never tweeted at them or anything like that, so they're heavily monitoring who's following their pages, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, any social media. They want to block their critics first before the critics can send all the theta, if you will, all the different controversial things about the church. So they're trying to protect their members on the inside. They just block all the critics or anyone that they recognize. But that's not the point. So my friend started tweeting at Scientology Network about all the different rumors and all the different things that goes on inside Scientology, which is all truthful things about the management, about David Miscavige, how the church runs. So she started tweeting out all this information. So I was thinking, okay, just expect to be blocked. They're not going to say anything back to you. Usually if someone comes at Scientology like that, they're going to say suppressive person. But with their television network now, I feel like Scientology is doing a lot of damage control, and instead of blocking the whole population at large, they're trying to handle people. So by handling people, that means that, say my friend, say David Miscavige beats his staff. Instead of just blocking her, they will give their fluffy PR piece about it and say, here's a website about David Miscavige. David Miscavige is the ecclesiastical leader of the Church of Scientology. He's done all these wonderful things for the church. Look at how he's been able to change and influence the life of millions of people. And where did you hear that wrong information? You know that those are just like bitter, angry people. So they start doing stuff like that. So they started writing to my friend and saying like, hey, like, where did you hear about these different rumors? They're not true, and here's actually the truth about Scientology. Now, I haven't personally seen Scientology actually take such a aggressive approach, if you will, to just go to some random person on Twitter and direct message them and start sending them materials of Scientology propaganda, if you will. And I just think it's very interesting. It really just tells you the state about Scientology. I feel that Scientology feels like they're so misunderstood. They're this new religion. People don't really have the answers or the truth. So then they feel like they're in the position where they now have to educate people. Scientology now has to go and inform people of what the quote-unquote truth of the matter is. Years ago, Scientology would have just said, yep, this person's a critic, block, and be done with it. But I think that they're really just grasping for straws. I think that they're really trying to educate people about Scientology at the hopes that they come in and take a course maybe, or, you know, go on services or receive auditing. Like, they really do think that even though the person's critical to begin with, that maybe they could change that or manipulate their viewpoint about things. So my friend was writing to me saying, hey, like, Scientology actually wrote back. Little does Scientology know that the person they're talking to is friends with one of Scientology's biggest critics on the internet, which is very funny to me. So my friend was never a Scientologist. She only knows about Scientology through me and from my videos and what I've gone through. Of course, I've educated pretty much all my friends and family members about what actually goes on in Scientology, but of course, not everyone is privy to every single detail. So instead of really writing up what I would respond with, I kind of let her kind of take the reins and say like, well, maybe you should ask about this. Like, ask about Shelly or ask about something which would kind of put them a little bit more on the spot. Because Scientology thinks they're talking to someone who maybe just reads the internet a little bit or knows very little. So it's easier for Scientology to go and manipulate the conversation because they are hoping that the other person doesn't know as much as a critic who was in Scientology for a number of years and has been researching and all that sort of stuff. I think that they were trying to play on this idea that, oh, maybe this person or this girl just doesn't know and she's maybe interested if she's talking about Scientology. Maybe we can convince her otherwise. So here are some of the private direct messages that my friend was sending and engaging with the Church of Scientology in.
Kat, to your comment, it's a tired internet meme meant to defame, and you've been played right into it. The Los Angeles Police Department met with Mrs. Miscavige and marked the missing persons report unfounded.
Scientology called it an internet meme that was meant to defame. This isn't an internet meme. This is actually people who've had first-hand experience with upper church management who initially waved this idea of, where is Shelly? She hasn't been seen publicly. She's been missing. This isn't just like someone started a rumor, for example. It's not like when you say, you know, Madonna died and they started swirling rumors on Twitter, but really Madonna is at her house or she's at Pilates or something like that. It's not like that. This is actually something that's much more serious than that, with people who are privy to knowing about church management. It's not like someone like me who's a critic but wasn't in church management started like some random unaccounted for mission to find Shelly when she's really not missing or something like that. This is something that not even just the media but critics, just like the world at large. Vanity Fair has done stories about Shelly. It's not like this is just something that's an internet meme that Scientology is claiming that it is. And if it was, then again, like I said earlier, why wouldn't Scientology just clear that up? Instead of just tweeting at some random stranger and saying, oh, it's an internet meme meant to deceive you, instead of saying that, maybe Scientology, if, you know, they're not good at public relations as we all know, or else there wouldn't be all this stuff going on about Scientology, but if they were smarter, they would at least have a video, a message. I just feel like, why wouldn't Scientology do that if they really truly feel like they're the underdog and they feel that people are misunderstanding them, coming up with these rumors? The public relations answer would be to prove otherwise. I think with Scientology, it's like you're guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around. So they actually have to prove their innocence. They don't have to prove that they're guilty. So here are some more of the messages.
Then why hasn't she been seen publicly in so many years? And if she is alive and well, why won't she come out and make a video statement, for example? It would squash all those rumors, but you guys are unable to do so. Kat, if you don't believe the Los Angeles Police Department, what can I possibly tell you that would change your mind? She's not a celebrity. She doesn't owe fans appearances. She wants her privacy. As for making a statement, why on earth? The matter was resolved years ago.
I don't actually know who is behind the Scientology Network Twitter, but I just feel like for them to say that she's not a celebrity, she's not a public person, this matter has been resolved years ago, why wouldn't you trust the LAPD? And I'm sure that they use that type of line on their current members who may say, hey, I read this article on the internet, or like, what actually is going on about Shelly? So when it's convenient for Scientology, then it's okay for them to say, hey, why aren't you trusting the LAPD? Why aren't you trusting the media? They sent my friend a People.com article about Leah Remini doing the missing persons report on Shelly, but why won't they actually use People.com as a credible source when it's something critical about Scientology? See, they want to feel like, oh, the media, there are all these like evil people that are running the media, but when the media actually is positive to them, with the same sort of news sources that may have been critical to them in the past, then it's okay for them to actually publicize and show like, oh, look, there's this article in the news that was glorifying us, or like giving the party line, if you will. But if it's something negative, so if my friend just said, hey, but what about this article that's from like the same news source that says that Scientology is a cult? Then Scientology said, oh, no, it's all critical and that's all wrong and that's just all rumors and suppression and all that sort of stuff. So I just don't understand this double standard with Scientology with regard to the media. But I don't think that this is just some tired old internet meme. I think that there really is something behind this. I think the LAPD may be more corrupt in many different ways, especially with Scientology. So I don't necessarily think that just saying, oh, you don't believe the LAPD is really, proving anything about this whole matter. So they do admit that about, quote unquote, twice a week, they get a related mention in their feed about Shelly. So I feel like, yeah, people are asking, people are wondering, maybe not the whole world, every single person in the whole world, because again, Scientology says, oh, that's such a generalization by saying the whole world. Well, maybe not the whole entire world, but I would say a very large percentage of people who are aware about Scientology and the abuses and what actually goes on actually do say, well, where is Shelly? What is the truth about the abuses and the criminality and all the different stuff that we hear about? So again, another failed attempt by Scientology to try to handle someone on the internet. So here's a message that Scientology did send out just out of the blue to her.
Kat, please. This is an ancient issue, and we on the inside know how silly it is. There's no reason to address this issue in public. It was put to bed long ago. We have more important things to concentrate on, like helping people stay off drugs. Check this heartwarming vid as an example. This is what Scientology is about.
So, just like I predicted and told you guys about in the last video that I did on Scientology Network, they're using Scientology Network to handle critics as a public relations piece and as a way to try to prove to the public that they're doing all these great, wonderful works by saying, hey, let's take the attention of Shelly Miscavige for now and focus on how this reverend who's affiliated to Scientology is helping kids stay off drugs is a diversion tactic from us talking about Shelly. So instead of us going back and forth about Shelly or my friend going back and forth, now they're saying, hey, watch this video about this reverend helping kids stay off drugs. This is Scientology, not the rumors. It's like, okay, but Shelly is a parishioner of Scientology, and seeing how you're just acting and talking to someone who's supposed to be just some random person on the internet, how you're talking to her about your religion and being so defensive about Shelly and how you're not going to produce her and all this stuff when there's someone who's possibly missing. Instead of saying like, hey, you know what, we're working to try to make this better and working with Shelly on how she would like to come out as a public person and maybe like resurface again. Instead of that, they're saying, hey, let's watch this fluff propaganda piece about how to get kids off of drugs or something like that. It's like, okay, but that's like a non sequitur. That doesn't actually matter. That's not what we're talking about right now. And they're just trying to, again, show that they are these like philanthropic, these very helpful people that go out and help get kids off of drugs and teaching kids how to read and poverty and sending out people to disaster sites. And it's almost like this illusion that they're painting and almost probably convincing themselves. I know when I was a Scientologist, I believed what they said about, doing all these things all over the world. I was 100% fully convinced that the money I was donating or things that I was doing were for the betterment of our world and stuff like that. So I do think that most people who are on the in actually do believe, the television network and all the different things that they put out and all the help that they're doing for the worlds, but it's really just an illusion. And they're using this television network now to try to take the attention off of Shelly Miscavige. I just don't really understand why they were dressing it in this way. So then my friend started direct messaging again. She was asking about me, like, hey, I heard about Steve Mango and a couple other people on the internet, like, what are they about? I was really curious to see what they would say about me, because Scientology's never issued a public statement about me. They've never shown me my suppressive person declare or anything like that, so I don't necessarily know what Scientology is telling their other parishioners about me, of other people who may have interacted with me in the church. I don't know what Scientology currently claims or says about me, so I'm just really curious, and I would be very interested to know what they say about me, because I know what I experience. I'm just really curious to see how Scientology lies and what they actually say about me, when we all know that I was a dedicated Scientologist for a number of years. So by the end of this video, you guys may be wondering, well, is there any update about Shelly Miscavige? What's the deal? Where is she? Where does things currently stand? So here's some different information that I found out online.
It is said and being reported that Shelly Miscavige is currently being held at the Church of Spiritual Technology, CST headquarters near Twin Peaks, California, the 33-acre super secret compound where David Miscavige has kept his wife Shelly stashed away for the last 11 years. Shelly was last seen in public in the summer of 2007 when she was allowed to go to the funeral of her father in the presence of Scientology handlers.
So I know that we're talking about Scientology here, but I hope that Scientology does the right thing. I hope that they come forward with Shelly and that she is okay and she's not really missing. She's not being held against her will or anything like that. She may just know too much information about David Miscavige and church management and leadership that could kind of unravel the whole entire thing. So if anything, in my opinion, I feel feel like they have to kind of keep her where she's at and keep her on a special project or whatever she's doing until she eventually does die, if she is alive, because I feel like she just knows so much information that they can't risk her speaking out or any information to leak or come out to the press or anything that actually happens inside Scientology. If anyone knows, it's Shelly. She was public before, so for Scientology to say she's not like a public person when she's been seen at events and stuff in the past, then all of a sudden she's just gone out of nowhere, it's just very suspicious to me. And the reason I made this video, not only just to share those messages between my friend and Scientology, but it's just to continuously talk about it, continuously bring awareness to it, because I feel like the more that we talk about it and the more people that are like, hey, like what really is going on, and Googles about it and tells a friend who tells another friend, and enough public interest is going to reach a critical mass to where maybe something actually gets done about it. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. I really wish I had a better answer for you on this whole Shelly Miscavige matter, but I really want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you're new here, you're not already subscribed, please make sure to click that subscribe button, the little bell icon. That's going to notify you when I make a new video. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks so much for watching.